Yo,
What's up, Benjamin?
I am tired.
Yes, why are you tired, Benjamin? Tell us what were we up to yesterday?
There was an intense football game happening that was making me age even more.
That and the fact that you completed one of those cycles of where the Earth goes around the sun and all that. Another year, and so it has begun. No, we don't want to avoid this conversation altogether. But no, we had a great night watching Germany. It was a fantastic end to the group stages of the Euros. I think it fully lifted up the hype. Group F, Group of Death, brought lots of drama. I read a piece today that said that at some point or rather yesterday, Portugal were in all four spots in the group.
Really?
Yeah, when they when they scored the first goal, they were top of the group. At some point, they were bottom, and eventually between second and third, they kept shuttling and
Yeah,
finished third.
we basically just wanted to make sure that we get England, which is an easy one for us, right?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. England at Wembley. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I am an England supporter. I have no idea why. This some colonial hangover. Um, no, it's because the Premier League is what is shown in India while I was growing up. But it will be good few games. Belgium, Portugal, England, Germany. Yeah, good games
Looking
coming up.
forward. And today we're having a few good news. What are we talking about, Ron?
We have, as always, 5 top stories to show you from the world of sports technology. I am going to jump right in, Benjamin,
Do it.
because we're going to start with the playoffs. Speaking of which, what a crazy playoffs! Like,
Indeed.
yeah, it's been so much fun. Two teams that have never won it. I think the Bucks won it the most recently, which was in '71.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to have some fun in the finals. But what's also happening in the conference finals is AT&T and NBA have decided to bring us courtside concerts. So apparently during each of the games, and this happened, I don't know if you saw it. Did you see it in the games? You've been actually getting up early to watch the games. Are they showing these live concerts or in the coverage?
I have not seen any, but lately I did not get up early.
Okay.
But
Well,
maybe
anyway, the story.
tonight.
Yeah, maybe it's for the next one. But yeah, as it is, the AT&T and NBA have brought you music concerts that are happening during the game. Well, I mean, it's not a live concert. It's pre-recorded and it's played during the live game. And these are the 4 stars that they are bringing to you. Two Chains, Big Sean, Corday, and Chica. Benjamin, how many of these artists are you like a massive fan of? Because I must admit, I didn't know any of these names.
I mean, I only know Sean.
Big
what's his
Sean?
name? Sean,
Sean Paul,
Sean Paul, and P Diddy. Isn't there Sean and P Diddy somewhere as well? Sean
Puff
Combs or something?
Sean P. Diddy Combs. Yes, so clearly we're showing our age here. But
Yeah.
I mean, what's most interesting though is the actual concert itself. I'm going to try to play you a clip. I mean, as you can see, it's really visually interesting. I was taking a look at what these concerts look like, and basically these artists are in studios. They've recorded it in a lot of crazy formats, a lot of very interesting visuals, and yeah, you can see from here. And it just looks really cool. I think it's another interesting addition to an NBA broadcast. I don't know if we'll get to see it if it happens everywhere, but I think it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. It reminds us a bit about our background that we use here. So
Ah.
almost same level style-wise.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
but I mean, looks super cool. Makes it a little bit look a little bit like a game, like I don't know, something. I think they also had it around the Super Bowl, similar technology. So yeah, all in order to please us as the viewer. And yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and bringing music with and especially hip hop music with the NBA go hand in hand, and now with some added live concerts, I think it's a nice one.
By the way, you should check out the chat section.
What's happening in the chat, guys? Who
It's
wants to know?
anonymous person.
Anonymous, Rowan. Yeah,
Who might that
love
be?
you too. I don't know who that is, but love you too.
Mysterious. Whoever you are, give us a hint. Write something else. Oh man, I'm curious.
Okay.
This could be fun potentially. In the meantime, I am gonna
Yeah.
talk about the second topic,
Yeah.
which also has something to do with sound, not necessarily music. Why are we talking about this? It's a company called Sonar, the Sonar company. They have been in the accelerator program of, it was Comcast SportsTech here. And what this company does is it uses ultrasonic tones. So these are tones that we cannot hear with our ears because they're in the frequency range that we cannot hear. I think animals, dogs potentially can hear them. And then in the article that said there was the dog of one of the involved guys was used as a test dog, and then it didn't complain, so everything should be okay. But yeah, why are we speaking about this? There are those tones that can be used to engage fans. How? Because those tones basically act as a trigger and interact with your phone. You're looking so skeptical that.
Yeah, no,
Still on the
I'm
dog.
trying to figure. I was curious about what the story is.
Okay.
But yeah, what about? Sorry,
Yeah,
go
okay,
ahead.
so this ultrasonic sound is used as a trigger, and your phone can technically hear this, or yeah, it uses this as a trigger, and then something pops up like quiz, I don't know, poll, you get a discount or whatnot. And why is this relevant? I've asked myself that question because I think with 5G, the new mobile network technology and everything that comes with it, I think that can also be done with, anyways, with your phone without the use of that sound. I think it's a problem in a stadium, at venue these days, because the mobile network is a bit tricky. So having an alternative trigger or way of transporting information is useful. And I think in the article that said it's also especially useful in let's say an environment where it was not possible before. The sports tech head of Comcast said, you're only limited by creativity once you open up a line of communication that hasn't been feasible before. So long story, new line of communication for triggers, for information. Interesting. Startup NBC found it interesting, so I believe something is there. But in my head, I'm not sure if it will still be necessary if 5G is there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that was the big question when I saw the story. I mean, it sounds super interesting and definitely tech worth exploring and for us to talk about. That's the whole idea. Is the use case that justified? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there are so many, like where there is no internet or there is, as you said, first of all, 5G or even basic connectivity within stadiums. This is basically a replacement, effectively, correct? Is it just fancy for the sake of being fancy? Or was there a genuine use case? That was my big question.
I mean, the interesting is also that they're going to use it not only for the fan in the venue, but also for the fan at home.
Right.
And obviously you have to opt in, because I believe, it's not in the article, but I remember to discuss similar startups at one accelerator program that we joined as jury members, that I think your phone has to enable the listening function. And there were some questions around, okay, is that really cool if your phone is listening all the time? But if it does, I think it's really interesting that all it needs is the TV signal actually to get triggered. So yeah, a couple of questions around this, but as you said, it's interesting. So we wanted to share that.
For me, it's just another form of a push notification, another trigger for a push notification effectively. So my interaction with my phone hasn't changed, right? I don't think what I'm doing on my phone changes. It's just how it's communicating to my phone that's different. Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
Maybe the dogs will appreciate it.
Maybe the dogs will appreciate it. Or maybe they won't. Maybe they just start barking at the TV and be like, shut it off, shut it off.
Could be. All right, next one. I'm curious about this one because I did not understand it entirely and I might have questions.
I think this one we both had a similar feeling. But okay, I'll do my best. First of all, the title is quite exciting. It says Tour de France gets a digital twin from NTT. Who are the partners for the Tour de France, the Japanese company, are doing a bunch of cool stuff. What are they doing exactly apart from this? Sorry?
I'm just making nonsense. Mate.
Thank you, Ben. So what they're doing is that basically, okay, long story short, they're going to set up a bunch of sensors. They're saying that this is the largest IoT connected stadium. So they're taking the entire Tour de France course, and that is lit up with sensors, right? What are they going to do with these sensors? I actually found an article which gave some sort of decent breakup of or some summary of what it is. Essentially, it's broadcast production. Okay, all of these sensors, which are placed all over the course and on the riders themselves, on their teams, on the saddle cars, all of that stuff. All of this live tracking data will go into their broadcast center, which is their race center, and where you, as the consumer, person watching the broadcast, can go into their race center, which is on this website, the Tour.fr, and interact and get some more data. Number one. Number two, there are more insights that will come on the broadcast television, on the TV itself, and also on the social media channels. 3D tracking is another thing. So they're adding another layer that you as a fan can experience. Fantasy sports, because there's more data coming in. That's the other application. And there is a big media wall on site which will display all this stuff. Basically, long story short, this whole digital twin thing, I understood, is that it's just good marketing speak for creating a much better enhanced fan experience with better media and graphics and production value. That's what it sounds like to me. I think I've read but 3 or 4 articles on this, and this is what I managed to gather. So I hope I'm somewhere on the right track.
Start easy. Do you follow the Tour de France?
Ooh, good question. Funnily enough, I will not be able to name any winner of the Tour de France since probably Lance Armstrong. So short answer, no.
Who did not win?
Long answer, sorry?
Who did not win?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to finish with. And all the notoriety and all that came with that name, he was the only reason I actually really was interested. So yeah, good or bad, that's what it is. I feel like you have more questions, but I also want to add before you jump in. Interesting side note, which was announced earlier this month, that women will have their first exclusive Tour de France. They've been riding with the men for, I think, the last couple of years, but the women will also have exclusive Tour de France starting from next year, 2022. And Zwift is going to be a partner there. So expect a bunch of cool activations and route planning and, again, tech side stuff for that. But yeah, coming back to your questions, Ben, what do you have to ask me?
So the key thing which you enlightened me with is that they're going to place the sensors all around the tour, right? So I did not get that. But that's a lot of effort. I mean, they cover a lot of ground, plus all the participants, like you said, all the cars and whatnot. That's tons of work. And then the question is, which mobile technology are they going to use? Because they're gonna use Wi-Fi, right?
No, I would assume. I mean, the article doesn't make a mention of that. Entity is a 5G proponent, but I'm not sure if France is completely rolled out in 5G. I mean, first to address your point about the effort, that's why they call it the world's largest connected stadium, because this entire tour and all the hills and mountains and all that jazz is connected. So that's their big claim. The article itself doesn't say anything about whether it'll be 5G. But I would assume that is the direction that they're going to go in, because they're gathering a lot of data, unless they are laying so much cable as well all across.
But like you said, I mean, they're in areas that are hard to cover anyways, right? Yeah. And I mean, with 5G, you have to be really close to those towers, because they need eyesight and all that. So yeah. I'm curious about that one, and we definitely should follow this one, because I want to see what it looks like and all that.
Yep.
On the women's Tour de France, I mean, it's about time. That's one thing, and secondly, I tell you something. I'm sure they're going to be way more advanced technologically, like with Swift and anything else than the men's, and probably I don't know, you use a lot of cool new stuff. So I'm curious about that one as well.
Yeah, sure. Should be good. I mean, Zwift is a great tech partner to have. I mean, they do some cool stuff. So I think it's a good collaboration.
Speaking about collaborations and tech partners, we are moving on to the next topic. That company does not stop, and we keep featuring it. Peloton, 2 news actually. Let's start with this one. As you can see here, Peloton sees the office as a new way to grow subscribers as people head back to their desks. what is in the article? Peloton has launched a program for corporates. The first corporates have joined, and it's not small companies. It's Sky, it's Samsung, it's SAP, and they partner on multiple levels. First of all, I mean, this is a very interesting field for Peloton. Lots of people involved. Going back to the offices, and they do a bunch of things. First of all, Peloton also has this, let's say, entry-level membership that I wasn't really aware of. I have to admit that. So there's also a membership that you can get without having like one of those fancy bikes or treadmills. So there is a $12.99 membership, and with that you get access to Peloton's fitness app that features meditation, yoga, and strength classes. So that is one thing. And of course, then if it's used in a company, you can tag your colleagues, you have your leaderboards and all that. So the goal and the story is that Peloton helps those companies to keep their employees engaged and fit and healthy. And of course, a healthy employee is something a company would like to have. The second thing that is in the article is your questioning. Let's go there in a minute. And the other thing is that Peloton also offers to equip the fitness facilities within the company buildings, of course, with their Peloton equipment. So I assume those big companies get some discount there, and they have those rooms with all those bikes and treadmills. And of course, that all of that brings the employees into the big Peloton ecosystem. That is the first news about. Comments from your side.
Great acquisition strategy. Obviously, they get a big bunch of users at one shot. Yeah, easy to understand why they're doing it, and part of a bigger story. Yeah, all good.
Cool. Then the second news, which is more speculation, but there seems to be some clear hints there. Peloton may be working on a heart rate monitoring armband. So that is news. I mean, they have their bikes and treadmills, they're working on other stuff, and they have this wristband already. But now it seems like they also work on a heart rate monitoring armband. And of course, that is interesting because you can connect it with all the devices that they have. You can, I think it also has a little display or something like this. And we've covered it before. Peloton also acquired a bunch of companies lately. One was with, I think, like a voice assistant, all those kind of things. So maybe this new armband, it doesn't sound unspectacular, but it sounds like a minor thing compared to the big devices. I think that might be the new center for everything for Peloton. So that is super interesting. How did they find out? I think they have it somewhere in some code or in some patents. Where was it again? Did you read that in the article? Deep within the code. Here, it's referenced deep within the code of the company's iPad and iPhone apps. They did not comment on it yet and all that, but it seems like this is gonna happen at some point. Also makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, yeah, it's another device. It's another product from Peloton. We've covered their wristband on the show before. They, of course, launched their treadmills and they went into yoga. My big question is, how many people, like, who does all of this? Because every 5 minutes, it seems like Peloton is launching something new. I mean, B2B space is a completely different space to target. They're entering there. They're at the same time developing a wider range of B2C consumer products. I mean, yeah, this is a company that's not wasting any time.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, before that, they basically were a one-product company, right? And that is always dangerous. And if you compare it with someone like Apple, who, of course, is a competitor with that rich ecosystem, like completely integrated, I mean, it does make sense. And the article that said the armband would actually not be a competition for the Apple Watch. I'm not sure if I would agree to that entirely. I mean, you don't have that entire app ecosystem on it, but let's say on the fitness side of things, I think it's a clear competitor.
Yeah, I think the armband specifically has a different functionality, notifications, etc., which you wouldn't get. Which is why my question would be: so, what does the armband offer that I wouldn't get on a wristband or something? That's the big one. Is it just another product for the sake of being a product? I'm sure not. There probably is some important functionality that it offers. That's what I mean. For me, it's always been, I hear a company is doing a lot, is Is there too much? Which of these products are they banking on? Because surely not each of them is going to be successful. So that's the only question mark I have. This armband sounded not so exciting to me.
I mean, as you can read here, I mean, there were some animosities between Apple and Peloton over the gym kit and whether the API lets the equipment talk to the Apple Watch or not. So maybe it's just a little threat or a step towards more independence. Maybe that was the trigger. I don't know, but definitely interesting.
Interesting indeed, and some good segues. Thank you, Benjamin, because that is our last story for the day. Now, this story isn't particularly new. First of all, let me clarify that Apple announced their next AirPod Pro, which I'm sure Ben will be first in line to get the moment they are out, which I think is next year, right? The story was published a couple of weeks ago that these are going to double as fitness trackers. So there are sensors in these devices. The stem is going to be a bit shorter and they'll look a bit sleeker, but these are updated motion sensors that have a focus on fitness tracking, which is a pretty important fact if you consider that, as you spoke about, Apple has been dominating the wristband segment for a long time. The Apple Watch is super popular. Fitness in earbuds are not particularly new. Jabra, Bose, JBL have been doing this for a while, but Apple's increased focus in the fitness category, especially with their Fitness Plus offering, this and the Fitness Plus especially has a lot of crossover with the Apple Watch and Apple TV. That's what they're trying to. You talked about this whole universe of services that an Apple user can gain access to. I think this fits into that story well. The reason I brought this story up today, we missed it earlier, was that there was another story that I came across, Ben, which I don't know if you might have seen as well, that Apple is thinking about actually healthcare clinics. It's not really sports tech. We're taking a slight departure from fitness into healthcare, but basically your Genius stores, Apple is thinking about doing that in the healthcare industry. They have a code name called Casper, which is the project. It started in 2016. They've been hiring people, doctors, and been testing some facilities. But it turns out that, I think this article speaks to it. Yeah, the company took over clinics that cater to employees and built a team of clinicians, engineers, product designers, etc. to pimp up a teched up healthcare center. But these have not gone really well. That is the big news that broke last week, that they've already closed down some facilities. They had to scale back on the development due to employee raising concerns about the privacy of data. You spoke about that earlier in a different context. It'll be years down the road before this becomes available, but it has been put on the, let's say, back burner for now. Really interesting story. I mean, Tim Cook has talked a lot about health. I think his famous quote is that this is going to be the next bastion where Apple really creates a difference in the health and wellness space. He is a big gym nut and gym fan. Really interesting directions that Apple is going in.
Yep.
Would you go there? Would you go to an Apple fitness store or Apple healthcare facility rather than going to a doctor? Is that a thing?
I mean, you have to put it into perspective. I think if I would be in America with a different healthcare system, as for example we have here in Europe or Germany especially, I would at least be interested to see what their offering is, and also the price packages that come with it. And I'm sure Apple has to build up trust in that segment as well, because it's a very, very sensitive area. But if they're actually able to do this, it could be an interesting offering. But as of now, I would say that there are a couple of steps that have to happen before I would do that. But coming back to this story, it's interesting because it feels like Apple is figuring out which kind of data points at which point of time during the day from which part of the body they can get, basically. And so far, they get something from the phone, then they have the watch, now the AirPods. By the way, I don't like those that go so much into the ear, so I would not go for them. But that's a different story. And I still have the prediction, I might be wrong, that Apple is going to buy Oura, the fitness ring from
Somebody's going to buy them. We've been saying this for a while. Between Whoop and Oura, somebody's going to buy them. Maybe Peloton, maybe Apple, maybe Amazon. Who knows?
So yeah, it seems like Apple keeps exploring. The question I have with this one is, unlike the watch, you're not wearing it all the time. So I wonder what makes them.
Well, I mean, people wear them a lot. People wear them a lot. Not all the time. It's a super fair point, but it is becoming like something that you see on the metro every day. But yeah, anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think that was already it. But just adding another potential data point. But the question also is, how much? I mean, I can imagine from out of the ear can get interesting information.
Yeah, interesting one. Coming back to the chat, Sophia, our dear friend from GSIC, she enjoyed the Tour de France news. Hi, Sophia. First of all, hola, ¿qué tal? Obviously, it's always nice. I'm assuming that you were clapping for the women's Tour de France and not the NTT's largest tech stadium situation.
The other user, the anonymous one, did not comment anymore.
Yeah, come on. We have to hear from you as well. Give me some love. I'm giving you some love back in case you want to jump back in. But that's it. That's a wrap, Ben. With another episode done.
Yeah, but
and we have an announcement, right? Yes.
I mean, it's not really an announcement. Announcement would be spectacular, unless you want to announce something that I'm not aware of. I just wanted to mention, and then I'm curious what you want to say. That next week we have to start half an hour earlier because I messed up my calendar and I agreed on a meeting that I don't want to cancel. So we're starting half an hour earlier. But what did you want to announce, Ron? I'm curious.
No. I mean, apart from that, we're going to do some change the format in July a bit. I think we're going to we mentioned this before. I think we might take some episodes alone. We might take a bit of a break. Those things are to be seen. But yeah, July is going to be a month where we hopefully get some decent time off. And I think the catering area is getting noisy in my co-working space, so it's time to jump off as well. Hey, Naman, thanks for great show. Thank you, Naman. Good to have you here, and hope to see you at 5:30 p.m. next week.
Exactly. Other question before we close this: what are you gonna do tonight? There's no football. Tomorrow's no football. What are we gonna
do? Funny thing. I mean, there is now we're just completely jumping off, but there is a bar in Berlin called Michaela, which is doing a screening of Der Rock, which is a movie that won the Oscar. I was thinking about catching that, but I think I'm too tired. I might just go home.
So not Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
No. The Rauch. Did I say that right? I don't probably messed up the pronunciation. But basically, it's something about a guy who drinks every day. A bunch of professors who drink every day.
Yeah,
I realized that the Rauch. Yeah, that's the one.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, then you're good.
I have something.
I might get up in the morning to watch the Suns against the Clippers, game 2.
Good call.
Cool. Right. That is it for this week. Thanks for everybody who joined, and see you next week at 5:30 p.m. Central European Summertime.